As we traverse the latter weeks of Lent this year, we begin to see in the daily readings the plot thickening against Jesus on his journey to the cross, which ultimately concludes our Lenten path. Today's readings are a sign of that impending destiny. The gospel shows us the dialogue that erupted in the crowds who followed Jesus, with competing visions of who the Lord was and how his Galilean roots caused concern for some of them. Word of this division reached the ears of the chief priests and the Pharisees, who wished to respond to this debate with a sweeping condemnation. The first reading from Jeremiah echoes the situation of Jesus, as the plot against the beleaguered Hebrew prophet is shown for what it truly is: petty and destructive. The psalmist today also cries out for refuge against those who would harm him. Altogether, the readings offer us a bleak picture. Yet into all this anxiety steps a ray of hope in the person of Nicodemus. Throughout the Saturdays in Lent, we have followed Jesus as he engaged with Pharisees and tax collectors, who were often at odds with each other. Each time, though, Jesus expressed his desire for them to dialogue, reconcile, and have a conversion of heart together. What we see in Nicodemus is that based on what we see in the biblical record, at least one Pharisee was moved by the Lord's words and sought to follow his way. Nicodemus pushes back against his brother Pharisees and priests. He speaks to them on their level, raising the issue of legality rather than getting into the pastoral theology of Jesus' ministry. What is critical here is that he uses whatever influence he has among his religious peers to pause the groupthink that is forming. On this Saturday, let's thank God for Nicodemus. In our present age, rife with misinformation and viral content, groupthink is all too common. Rather than welcoming healthy dialogue, many people prefer the cool balm of ideology, where differences of opinion are seen as a bother, and the solution is an intractable and unyielding certainty. We're all busy people and do not have time to consider all the options before us. Because of that, it is easier to just go along with the majority. We can then surrender our discernment to groupthink. But Nicodemus offers us hope against the headwinds of convenience. Nicodemus invites us to think, to reflect, and to resist the lure of a viral sensation or the mob mentality. Nicodemus is a biblical role model for developing and then using a well-formed conscience. It may make us unpopular. I am sure it cost Nicodemus. Going against the crowd is always going to be dangerous. Plus, thinking and discerning will be time-consuming, which runs against the grain in a culture that prizes expediency and speed. Yet Lent, especially the second half of the Lenten season, is a perfect time to practice that spiritual art. So slow down, reflect, and discern. Resist groupthink. Give dialogue a chance. And in so doing, may you find yourself in the company of Jesus, our refuge and our hope. God be with you on that journey.